In today's video, I'm going to break down the 5 best Atlanta neighborhoods for families, and that's coming up right now. My name is Mark Brenner. I'm a realtor here in the Atlanta area, and if you need help buying or selling a home anywhere around Atlanta, I would love to hear from you. You can book a Zoom call with me directly using the link in the description below. Also, if it's your first time watching my channel, please make sure you check out my old videos, especially the playlists. There's a lot of great resources and information if you're planning a move to Atlanta or just want to get to know the area better. There's neighborhood tours, there's home tours, there's all kinds of things in between, so definitely go check out some of my older videos. All right, so the 5 best neighborhoods in Atlanta for families. Well, I'm gonna talk about 5 of my favorites. There are a lot of great neighborhoods around Atlanta for families, so don't take this to mean that these are the only great neighborhoods that you can move to if you have a family and schools are important to you, but these are definitely 5 that stood out to me. And I also like to cover neighborhoods that you wouldn't find in a typical blog post or list or maybe even another YouTube video that's talking about the same topic. And just keep in mind, I'm going to be talking about a few neighborhoods inside the perimeter and a few neighborhoods outside the perimeter in order to mix it up and to help folks who are in different situations. All right, so let's get into it. The 5 best Atlanta neighborhoods for families. All right, first up, and again, this is in no particular order, I have Sandy Springs. Now, Sandy Springs is a great neighborhood for families. I don't talk about it enough on this channel, but this is going to be one of the best options for folks who need to be really close and sometimes inside the perimeter. Sandy Springs is both inside and outside the perimeter. So this is going to be a great mix of city living with a little bit more suburbia than you might find closer to downtown. So we'll pull up a map here, but you can see Sandy Springs is in the north side of the perimeter. It's in Fulton County, and this is really a corporate business hub. There are a lot of big businesses that have a presence here. UPS, Mercedes-Benz, Pill Hill is also in Sandy Springs. This is an area with a lot of major hospitals clustered around one another, so we refer to it as Pill Hill. So if you're in the medical profession, this might be a place that you're based out of. But Sandy Springs is really a good mix of everything. So there's plenty to do, plenty of shopping, and plenty of great restaurants. You know, you are more in town, so you're gonna get higher quality restaurants. You're gonna get higher quality retail, boutiques, shopping, very high end for all of those items. Of course, like many places in Atlanta, you're close to a lot of green spaces, easy access to the Chattahoochee. So, you know, if you like to be outdoorsy, hiking, walking, being on trails, Sandy Springs is still a great option for you. And certainly it'll fulfill any needs for a date night for you and your partner or a family date night where you have to take the kids as well. The whole community is definitely family oriented. The schools are typically really good in Sandy Springs, although it can be sort of a mixed bag. So you need to look up each individual school when shopping in Sandy Springs. But the downtown area is known as City Springs, and there's a theater venue, conference center, parks, outdoor venues, and like I said, plenty of good restaurants. Now, one big drawback about Sandy Springs is this is really some of the epicenter of some of the worst traffic around Atlanta. 400, the Glen Ridge Connector, all of these major interstates connecting and intersecting around Sandy Springs. It's a very busy area, both on the highway and just on the roads in Sandy Springs. So, there's going to be traffic around Atlanta in a lot of places, but especially in this area, just be prepared. It is highly congested. Now, there is a MARTA station in Sandy Springs, which definitely helps things, but overall, you're almost definitely going to need to own a car in this area. And if you're wondering about home prices, you're going to be in the mid 500s to live in Sandy Springs for a more move-in ready home. Once you move into the $600,000 range, you're going to have a larger, more updated home as well. So a little bit on the expensive side, but again, you know, you're kind of inside and outside the city at the same time. So you've got a great mix. Everything is at your fingertips here. The schools are good. It's a safe area. So there's a lot going on in Sandy Springs, and it should definitely be on your radar. All right, next up on my list, I have Sewanee, which I've talked about many times before. Probably the most family-oriented neighborhood out of the entire list I have here today. Sewanee is about 45 minutes from the city, depending on where you are specifically. So it will be a longer commute if you're working in the city, but honestly, it could be worth it. Very good schools in the Sewanee area, very safe, an area where you see lots of kids out in the neighborhoods playing. There's over 600 acres of parkland here, including walking and biking trails. And there's actually 2 downtown areas that will eventually be connected. There's the historic old downtown Sewanee, which is a little bit more quaint and traditional. And then there's the Sewanee Town Center, which is centered around a huge green space and an amphitheater for outdoor venues. It's essentially like a park. You can play here. There's always people out playing frisbee or football, and there's a bunch of restaurants and retail shops surrounding the town center. So you're always going to see lots of families out there every day of the week, especially on the weekends, tons of kids. So again, a very family-oriented neighborhood. Again, lots of green spaces. There's the Sewanee Creek Greenway, and the government of Sewanee is very concerned about, you know, protecting green spaces, protecting open spaces the way they currently are. Sewanee is also going to be one of the more diverse areas of any of the neighborhoods I'll talk about today. Very good mix of all different types of people. So I think it's an area where everyone will feel accepted and comfortable, even though you are a little bit further away from the city. Now, if you're looking to buy a home in Sewanee, you're definitely going to be looking at least in the mid 300s for something that's currently livable. Again, prices are changing so quickly in these markets that what I'm saying today might not be true if you watch this video 6 months from now. But right now, you can still get in a starter home in Sewanee in the mid 300s, maybe the high 300s at this point if you need a 4-bedroom or more, if you need a little bit more square footage. But once you get into the 400s, especially high 400s, you'll have a ready to go, very nice, good size home they should be really happy about. So still some good value in this neighborhood, but again, great schools, very safe and extremely family oriented. There's a lot of things to do, especially outside. So that's the reason Sewanee's on my list. All right, so next up, I have Morningside Lennox Park. So we're back inside the perimeter, and honestly, if your budget is less of a concern, you need to be in the city either for your preference or for work, you could do a lot worse than Morningside Lennox Park. It's very prestigious. People who live here take a lot of pride in living in the neighborhood and maintaining the neighborhood and staying connected as a community. This is very much in the city, so you're going to have access to all the fancy restaurants that you would want, all the high-end city-type restaurants, bars, retail shops. It's really all at your fingertips in this area. And in terms of outside green spaces, I mean, of course, you have Piedmont Park close by, you have the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, and you also have the Morningside Nature Preserve. So no shortage of amazing outdoor activities in this neighborhood. Because you're practically in the Midtown Piedmont Park area, the Beltline is right there. So that's a huge amenity that you can enjoy very easily living in this neighborhood. So this is an extremely safe area, very progressive, obviously being in the city. The schools are top-notch. But with all that comes a price tag. This is probably the priciest neighborhood on the entire list I have today. Your entry point into owning a home in this area is going to be $650,000, and you're going to have a strong mix of bungalows, cottages, and some apartments. So if you're a family looking for a place around Atlanta, if you have a higher budget and you really want to be in town, Morningside Lennox Park is one of the first places I would recommend for a family. All right, coming up next on my list, I have Fayetteville. Now, it's important for me to talk about neighborhoods south of the city. They don't get a lot of love in YouTube videos or blog posts, but there are great family-friendly neighborhoods south of Atlanta, and there's a lot less competition when you're looking to buy south of Atlanta. So in a crazy market where everyone is looking in Alpharetta and Johns Creek and Sewanee, you know, there's a lot of benefit in going south of Atlanta. You're certainly going to get more for your money, and you can have the safety, you can have the good schools. Unfortunately, what you won't have is a lot of the high-end, cool, hip restaurants and retail shops. Now, a lot of people don't need that, okay? They like a more laid-back, suburban/rural environment, maybe with 1 or 2 good restaurants, and you have your essential retail. establishments that you need, that is definitely Fayetteville. It's only 22 miles from the city, and this is a great typical suburban vibe. Most of the schools are very highly rated, and like many neighborhoods in Atlanta, there's plenty of green spaces, hiking, biking, walking trails for you to enjoy. There's also Pinewood Studios in Fayetteville, so if you're in the film industry, this might be an opportunity to get plugged into that. But one of the best parts of Fayetteville is you can still get in here in the low 300s and have a move-in ready home. Might not be the largest and most updated, but if you're working with a little bit more of a budget, but you need a safe area with good schools, you're less concerned with all the amazing things to do, I think Fayetteville should definitely be on your radar, along with some other South Atlanta neighborhoods that I can't get into today, but I'm sure I'll talk about in future episodes. So overall, if you prefer a little bit more of a quiet, rural environment, you don't need all the amazing things to do, you're on a lower budget, but you need safety and good schools, you definitely want to check out Fayetteville. All right, the last neighborhood I have on my list of the best Atlanta neighborhoods for families is Oakhurst. Now, Oakhurst is a neighborhood on the south side of City of Decatur, which you've heard me talk about quite a bit, especially when we're talking about families, because all the best schools inside the perimeter are in the City of Decatur. So Oakhurst is a part of City of Decatur. I'm highlighting Oakhurst in particular because I have not talked about it before, and it really is probably the most family-oriented part of the City of Decatur. So the City of Decatur is made up of a few different parts. You have downtown Decatur, Decatur Square area. There's the east part of Decatur as you head over towards the Farmers Market and towards Avondale Estates, which is a part that I really love. There's the Old Depot District, and then there's Oakhurst, which is kind of like another little downtown area. It's all centered around Harmony Park, which is a nice little park for the kids to play. But you've got a little neighborhood, few square blocks there with a few really good restaurants, good pizza place, Mexican place, coffee shop, and all of it very family oriented. This is less of what you would do for a date night as a couple and more where you're going to bring the kids if you don't want to cook and you just need to go out that night. So always a lot of kids running around Oakhurst, but quality restaurants, beautiful homes in this area. It's a beautiful neighborhood overall. Certainly a safe area where you wouldn't need to feel uncomfortable walking around at night. And you're in the City of Decatur, so the schools here are top-notch. Now again, because you're inside the perimeter and you're in an area with good public schools and a lot of good things to do in restaurants, this is a pretty expensive area. In Oakhurst and in the City of Decatur in general, you're going to be in the high 600s as a starting point for a detached home, and definitely easily going into the 700s if you need a larger home. A lot of these homes are very old, they're historic, they're big footprints, they're beautiful homes, but they're expensive because there's not a lot of them. This isn't a large geographic space we're talking about, and it gets very dense, especially as you get closer into Oakhurst, closer into Decatur Square. So, of course, if you're okay with an attached option, like a townhome or condo, you can go a little bit lower in the budget. But for families, I know that's not always ideal. But all that to say, if you need to be in town, right in the heart of the action, plenty of things to do at your fingertips, but it needs to be very safe, even though you're in the city, and you need great public schools. Oakhurst and the City of Decatur in general should definitely be a place that you look if you have the budget to do it. All right, so there you have it, 5 amazing Atlanta neighborhoods that specifically work great for families. I hope that helped you if you are a family looking to buy a home or move to the Atlanta area. There's some great options that you should check out. Of course, there are plenty of other great neighborhoods that could work for you depending on what you need. So if you have more questions or you need help figuring it out, just book a Zoom call with me. I would love to talk to you. So I hope you found that video beneficial. Do me a favor and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.